Welcome, Martijn. I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad that you had the chance to join the Analytics Conference 2023. Can you maybe give a short introduction to yourself?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It was really cool. I'm Martijn. I'm at TUI now for 5 years. I've started as an analyst myself, and then I moved on into leading the analytics team in Belgium and Netherlands. Before, I worked as a data science consultant, also where my background lies, data science. And now, for 4 years in analytics, mainly focusing on attribution, data science, tracking in general, and server-side measurements. I think these are the main focus points for myself.
Oh, great. So a very technical career, I would say.
Yeah.
So you are more in the technical field. So
yeah,
that's great. Then I can ask a lot of technical questions.
Yeah.
So you had today your talk on leveraging a custom-built attribution model through the Google Cloud Platform. Can you maybe give a quick recap of this talk for everyone who hasn't seen it?
Yeah, of course. So at TUI we have built our own attribution model in the Google Cloud. We didn't have one before we started this, so we had to rely on last click. We were facing some difficulties with it. So we started doing research and we said, okay, let's try it ourselves. So that's why I gave the talk, because now we have done it ourselves. We have created our own pipeline, the process flow, fully in-house, where we just we look at our GA data, we bring it into the Google Cloud, we do some modeling, and then we connect it with the channels where our marketeers can then make any budget changes for their respective platforms or channels. So that's
I think this is so interesting. So you don't hear it so often that someone is building this in-house without any help from outside. So my respect definitely. So that you have built this solution on your own. And can you tell how this all started? How the initial spark happened there?
Yeah, started quite with an impulse. We were talking about it. And then suddenly one weekend I wanted to do some research because I was data scientist before, so I knew some coding, and I made an R-Shiny model, so it's like an interface that everyone can use. So I started doing it behind my hours, where I created the Markov model. I didn't create the Markov model, I used the Markov model on our data. Then it was like a shiny visualization that didn't look too well, but it worked. We've shown it in the TUI teams. They were quite enthusiastic about it. So we made it an official project together with, I think 3 or 4 people from our teams. We started a working group, and then it took us quite some months of work to build it ourselves. But it was a really challenging and fun journey to do so. So that's how it started in a weekend. With a small spark, and then it turned into an official project. So,
out of your own interests, you have built this and started it, and then started a fire. And then I would say when you manage to start a fire, then it's also easy to convince management about the solution because everyone is on the same side there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very great.
Yeah, exactly.
Very great. In the talk before, there was one thing that was not in the talk, and I'm curious about it because I experienced this by myself multiple times. An important part of building a good attribution model is having the right data quality in place. So how did you approach the topic of data cleaning? How big of a burden was this for you?
Yeah, in the beginning it was quite a burden. Our data, just like other data, isn't really perfect always. The advantage is that we are close to the developers in TUI. So if we use our GA data, this is usually because we ask the developers to make a push so we can see the data. So any issues that occurred quite often, we were able to fix at the data source. So that's a big advantage. And then we have some data cleaning steps we do in BigQuery. So we identified a couple of common data formatting issues. So we do it, not at the source, but do it along the way. And we have a couple of steps that control the data to make sure that we don't have any strange data points. For example, revenue, which is an important one for attribution. We know the average order value of our packages we sell. We also know if someone buys a trip for 200,000 euros, it's not possible, for example. So we identify some assumptions that we filter the data, basically, based on those assumptions.
What are the different data channels that you have integrated, or data sources? Do we use external data?
We use one data source, and it's our GA data set. So it's only web data we use as an input for the attribution flow. Only the session data of the visitors. And then, of course, their source medium, their campaign, and any other digital marketing data points. And then, of course, the web data points like revenue and the datums, of course. But the architecture we have shown in the presentation is also being used for other use cases. And over there we have, for example, first-party data from CRM that we use to do marketing suppression, for example, in Facebook, for example. So over there we have multiple data sources, but for attribution itself, we only use our web data.
So I think you mentioned this before in the talk. You are not using like the data platform that you have built for attribution, but also other activation cases in the end. So
exactly. For example, marketing suppression. So leaving out the previous bookers, for example.
When it's about activating the data, so when you build the attribution model, have attributed the data then to the different channels, how do you activate the data then in the end?
Yeah, this is a close collaboration with Nicolas, our other speaker. He is leading the marketing team, and they have several marketing channels that they use to attract traffic. So basically we were together with Nicolas to make sure that, okay, which channels do we need to connect and how. If we connect them, then we can tweak our data so that we know, okay, the marketeers receive this kind of a data format. And then they can see, depending on which platform they control, they can, for example, see if Google Ads is the platform that we now talk about. They can see that some keywords or some campaigns should receive less or more budget. And then they can do in-channel adjustments, basically.
Yeah. Then you have a feedback loop, because when you then in the end adjust like the channels again, then you are collecting the data again, and then after maybe a certain amount of time you will look at it again and if something has changed. Yeah. So how does this work for you?
Yeah, the model runs on a daily basis, basically. So we have our multi-layered approach in our measurement framework. So you have econometrics that can do very long time periods, and they can say, okay, that's the amount of budget that should be spent for Facebook, for example. Then we have attribution. Attribution can be used on multiple occasions, either for reporting on a monthly basis, for example, but also for day-to-day adjustments. And that's how we do it for example, Google Ads. So we have a daily API call. They receive the data, and then they can make changes in real time. And the day after, then the thing should be adjusted. Yeah.
It's close to real time
when
you do it on a daily basis.
The only dependency we have for our real time factor is basically when the data is available in BigQuery. So as soon as it's available, we can do the modeling, and it takes a couple of minutes, even less. So that's our only dependency we have.
Are you using the monitoring function for like seeing that the data is available? Yeah. So you have like a custom metric in there, like a custom signal, and then it pops up, and
and lots of research as well. Lots of tweaking with the process. So we've had a couple of times that we wanted to make sure the data is available earlier. So we we moved our process, but then we received empty data. So we knew, okay, this is too early, so we'll have to take a later timestamp to run the process. So that's where the monitoring is really important. Yeah, the logging is crucial.
Out of your technical view on the solutions that you have built there, what would you say are the next steps, next technical challenges, maybe also business challenges that you would tackle in the future?
I think we have quite some challenges in terms of technicalities. I think we have now a well streamlined process. We don't have any issues, but we are aware of the fact that there are more services in Google Cloud that can deliver the same capabilities as the ones that we have and even more. So we are doing research if we should replace some services with an alternative to be more future-proof. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, of course, the cookie depreciation. I think this is a technical and a business challenge. Of course, the cookies are getting less and less usable. We are doing monitoring on how long our customer journeys stay. Because it depends on which browser, of course, and which version they use, and how long the cookie is being remembered. So that's one thing we do. And to circumvent this issue, I think first-party data is getting more important. So we are trying to make sure that we get as much as first-party data as possible. Our TUI app is getting more important because people need an account for this. So the more people use it, the more data we have that we can use. And of course, econometrics and other measurement techniques that don't rely on cookies, like for example, incrementality testing, is getting more and more important for us. So that's what we try to do, to combine our attribution with measurement methods that aren't depending on cookies.
And the great thing here is that you collect all the data into your own Google Cloud project. So you have it stored in your own domain, essentially. So you also don't have to look so deep into data privacy than there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we also have a good collaboration with the internal DPOs at TUI. So this process has been agreed by them. So we always do a check if we use a service or anything from Google Cloud. We always say, okay, we are doing this, and then they agree.
Ah, great.
So it's good indeed that privacy is important, but we have our collaboration with DPOs who can confirm if what we do is okay for privacy or not.